Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. The new 5-liter Mustangs make great power stock. In the case of our 2011 GT, we've added a JLT cold air intake, an SCT tuner, and a set of Roush mufflers, which bump their horsepower even more. All this power is great, but if you can't put it to the ground, it doesn't do you much good. Between the low-profile tires and the rubber bushings in the control arms, wheel hop is becoming an issue. The best way to combat wheel hop is with a good set of lower control arms. So today, we're going to install these BMR lowers on our 2011 GT. BMR offers several control arms for both street and race use with polyurethane or spherical bearings for high horsepower applications. In our case, we're going to go with their street lower control arm with the polyurethane bushings, which are fully greaseable. The polyurethane will have a lot less flex than the factory rubber bushings, which will help increase traction. For this installation, you'll need a jack and jack stands or a lift and pull jack, 1/2-inch ratchet, torque wrench, 18mm socket, grease gun, zip ties, and safety glasses. You want to make sure your emergency brake is off when you put your car up in the air. The factory brake cable is going to go through the control arm, so we'll have to disconnect the cable to remove our factory control arms. The cable can be easily disconnected right at the brake caliper. We'll start by removing the cable retainer. Usually you can slide this out by hand. You may need a small screwdriver. Pop that out first. And you can pull the cable off the bracket. And slide it up and pull it off the caliper. Pull it down out of the way. You want to install one control arm at a time. That way the rear doesn't shift. It'll make it easier for the new control arms to go into place. If you're doing this job on the ground using jack stands, use the jack stands on the axle to support it while you're doing the installation. If, like us, you're using a lift, you want to grab a pole jack and just support the side you're working on. We're going to start with the rear bolt. You only need to put a wrench or socket on this bolt here. The inside has its own stop, so it'll hold in place. Remove the control arm. Here we can see how much beefier the BMR control arm is versus our stock control arm. The arm itself is much more heavy duty and the bushings are a lot larger. The arms are side specific. You want the grease fittings facing down, the skinnier part goes towards the front, and then the offsets can go towards the inside. I'm going to put some grease on the edge of the bushing before we install. Start with the front by putting the nut and retainer into place in the bracket. Push the control arm up into place. And install our bolt. You want to get it snug at this point, but not all the way tight. Now we'll install the rear. You want to tighten this one up and then go back and tighten the front bolt. Okay, now we'll grab our torque wrench. Now we're going to torque to 130 foot-pound. We're going to grease the fittings. Since our new control arm is solid, we're going to bring the e-brake cable underneath it and back up into the bracket. Now we'll reinstall the retainer. You don't want the cable hanging this low, especially on a lower car like ours, so we're going to tie it up to our control arm. Once your brake line is tied up, now you want to repeat the process on the other side. Our BMR lower control arms will do a great job in helping with our wheel hop and only take around an hour to install. Between those and our eye-box springs, we have a nice little foundation for the suspension on our 2011 GT. For more updates on this project and our other project cars, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.